believe the Round Ireland race is one of the world's great adventures. You have all the elements of the Round the World race in a small compact race around this country. We have 4 tidal gates. We have the ravages of the Atlantic Ocean. To finish first in a race like this, it takes planning, it takes time, it takes fitness, it takes dedication, and it takes a bit of luck. My ambition is that I will gather a crew together, set off from Wicklow Sailing Club and win the Round Ireland race.
Okay, the morning show at East Coaster number 087 77 11 103. Now, David, he's turning his eyes and efforts and whatever now to going around Ireland and around Ireland yacht race.
It's a challenge and an adventure. It's one of the best offshore races in the world. My objective in this race is to win line honours, which is first home over the line.
And you're doing it for a cause, of course.
Yes, we're doing it for a cause. We hope to raise funds for the Care for Shane Trust, which is a trust set up for my own nephew, Shane.
Tell us about him.
Shane suffered an acquired brain injury just over a year ago. He needs medical treatment now, and his parents are also trying to get him into a position where they can bring him home, adapt their home, and the funds raised from our campaign will go towards doing those things.
Right, you've also brought along Roisin Hennessy. Hello, Roisin.
When he proposed that we'd take a Ferrari of a racing sailing boat and sail around Ireland, not just to sail it, not just to cruise around and look at the scenery, but to get out there and to win with the Wicklow team, that's when I said, well, I'm in. Because what we're racing on is a Formula 1 style boat.
Now, I've heard Ferrari and I've heard Formula 1.
Yeah.
Now, describe this tub anyway.
It is 70 foot long, 20 foot wide, 14.5 tons of carbon fibre. This is the ultimate racing machine. This is just built for speed.
Well, the best of luck, David Ryan. Great, thank you.
Mad or what?
Great.
Looks very sedate and calm. No sails up, sitting there very peacefully. This is a culmination of a lot of work, and it's overwhelmed. Overwhelmed with excitement. There is a pond over there, yeah. Okay, guys. This is the start. We're kindly here. We have the boat. We can see it. We can believe it. It's here. We're touching it. We can feel it. It's real. Huh?
It's not going to feel real, I don't think, until we actually leave the marina and actually we're on it going somewhere. At the moment, it feels like I'm like in 6th class going on a school tour day, having a tour around or something, and they're going to be kicked off in about 20 minutes' time to go to the petting zoo or something.
You know, this thing has been halfway around the world. It's amazing.
Compared to any of the other boats that I've been on, this is totally different. This is a stripped out racing machine. As you can see, the navigation table is basically just a table and a small cushion. Any other boats I've sailed on have a nice table, nice seat, and has loads of space to navigate. While here, it's all down to place to wait and that's basically it.
Before everyone goes on the beer and on the food, we'll have to have a team talk. The biggest challenge we have in the next 24 hours to learn how this boat actually works, to make it sail to the best of its ability.
You know, like grinding the mainsail is tough and lifting sails are tough. You know, everything is tough. So just prepare yourselves for that.
So for example, if these were linked and someone's kneeling down there putting a halyard away and you start grinding like a maniac to try and get the sheet in or something, you're going to take their head off. All right, so it's really important to check what's sort of set up and what's linked and what's not. And if you hear someone say stop, it's probably for a reason, okay?
The plan has changed. We're losing a sailing day now due to lack of wind. So that leaves us less time to assess the team on this boat. It leaves me under pressure to make a lot of decisions which I had hoped I would be making jointly with the skipper on the boat, but that's now not going to happen. It's been left up to me. It's a difficult decision for me. We're doing Humpty Dumpty fix me up before we leave. We're losing valuable training time. Not a happy camper. Not what I expected, not what I had planned. So no, I'm not really a happy camper. It's upset me slightly. The other issue I have is my mother. She's not well. She's quite low at the moment and quite anxious to go home. But it's very, very difficult one for me to leave under the circumstances. My mum had been stable for a couple of days, but the fact that we've lost a day, or I haven't turned around and gone left here, has just upset me hugely. You know, and the possibility that the one can't get their act together and get this thing sorted and get out of here.
Well, everybody seems to be in organised chaos trying to stow everything so it's what's not needed is out of the way and going to get dry, and what's needed is handy and everyone knows where it is, and safety gear, everything is conveniently accessible. And hopefully we can find
15, 16. We just left Ocean Village Marina, Southampton. Next stop, Greystones, County Wicklow. Yeah, everybody's prepping sails, checking their wet gear, getting their personal beacons ready. It'll take us 2 hours to get out to sea. We're going out into the channel here in Southampton, and we go down the channel and out into the sea. The tide is falling from 9:30, so it's 15 minutes turning, 15 minutes after turning. Get a bit of tide, get a bit of breeze and get going.
Your sleep, it should still be with you. When you're on deck, it should definitely always be with you. If you change shorts or change wet weathers, you have to make sure you swap it over. Okay, this needs to be on you all the time. If you go over the side, all you then have to do is grab this part, this red part, and give it a good yank, and it'll come off and start beeping. And that's now showing up on every ship's AIS monitor that's in the area. Okay. So this is very important. If you go over the side, this is what you want to be setting off, so we can come and find you again. We'll find you within about a 4-mile radius.
Hold it. We're picking up on that.
Okay, take up slack. Hold. Okay, go hoist. You ready?
The crew's been split into 2 different watches, but overall the crew has gelled really well. I suppose this whole project is about strength and conditioning and teamwork. Overall, Farmer Ryan has assembled a really great crew, and this whole campaign has garnered immense support. So we're really very lucky to be here. Overall, it feels absolutely fantastic. It's a privilege to sail on a Volvo 70, but it's even a greater privilege to sail with people who enjoy just pushing out from the shore and setting sail no matter what the weather is.
So it's evening time, first evening on the boat, and we've just all finished up dinner. Came on watch about half an hour ago, and fortunately the previous watch had taken down the sails as the wind has died, and we've just started up the motor in the past couple of minutes. We're just past Poole on the south coast of England, and we're on our way now towards Weymouth.
That causes 2 problems. One, it's taking us forever to get home, and secondly, and critically, the most important thing, if we're going to win this race, we have to be able to operate this boat at 100%. And at the moment, we're not getting an hour's opportunity to do that. We're motoring, we have the engine on, which you don't put on the sailboat. We're supposed to be sailing the boat. The engine is on, we're doing 4 knots. We've 100 hours it takes us 100 hours to get back to Wicklow at this rate of going. But there's absolutely nothing we can do. Just hope that the weather forecast is right, the wind turns around to the north, and we actually get some sailing.
safety, this is Paul, and for information, your target is a blue and yellow 70-foot racing yacht. Over. This is Paul and Coast Guard. Are you ready for me to pass you the latitude and longitude? Over.
Listen, seeing as David very sadly lost his mother, he's going to be absent from us for a couple of days. It's probably no harm for us to put our heads together to see if we're in a position to fill some of the gaps that he's leaving behind in terms of the organisation of this campaign.
Portland Coast Guard, Monster Project.
4. Absolutely freezing. The next watch is coming on at 6 o'clock. And we are instructed by the captain to keep our course. So that means that we can't trim the sails or go higher really for more wind for the time being. So we're just going to have to sit it out until he comes up at 6 o'clock. But he might come up at 5:30 and make change. So that means we had 3.5 hours of a nice and quiet watch. And then we'll be going like the clappers for the last 30 minutes before we all go to sleep.
So here we are on a dog's watch. It's called that because it's quite cold and quite miserable. It's also like 5 AM. But sleep always finds a way.
You got to be pretty bloody mindful when you go down below and we're on the Liveria racing because people are going to be sleeping, right? So I've seen most of you screaming down, going into the galley, having a tea party in the galley, asking, like screaming from the galley to the deck, do you want a coffee, do you want a tea? You can't do that, all right? So just be very mindful when you go past the companionway hatch. There's absolute silence, especially at night. All right?
Perfect. All right, cool. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Keep grinding.
Wind has picked up as predicted, and we're just about coming around Land's End between Penzance and the Isles of Scilly. So it is quite common to get a change of wind, speed and direction here, and we're hoping this will stick with us to get us back to Greystones as soon as possible. Morale is good, lots of training done on the way over, daytime and nighttime training. You've got the swing of things a lot better now. Missing David, sorry he's not here. We know we'd really value him being around. Hi David, it's Ro here. We're back in Irish waters. We're about 2 miles south of Tusker at the moment, and we just said we'd ring to touch base with you. I hope everything's going as best it can for you. All thinking of you and all sorry you're not with us. Things have gone well here. We've got a lot of training under our belt, and it looks like with current wind speeds that we might hit Greystones between 8 and 10 o'clock tonight. I'll try and call you a little later. I'm just going off watch now, but my phone will be with me. So listen, take care. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. We've got Wicklow Head Lighthouse now in our sights, which is great because we're not far from home.
Yeah, that's it.
We're in Greystones now at the moment, and we came in so late last night we couldn't do any cheers or hip hip hoorays or anything like that, but we arrived into Greystones. Fortunately Wicklow's just a little bit too shallow for us to get in, so I'm not sure exactly what the plan is tomorrow or Saturday, how we're going to get the boat around. It'll be a little bit awkward for a sea start, but I don't think we'll be mooring in Wicklow.
Unfortunately my mum passed away. I've been away, and but the race goes on. The team have been working hard in the background, inspiring me to keep going at this difficult time.
I think it's very important to David to win this race. I think it's becoming, it started off very important, and now it's become even more important, especially You know, he got the news the other day of his mother dying, and when he had to leave the boat, and I think that has probably brought a whole new aspect of kind of a need to win for David into it. To achieve what he set out to achieve, I suppose now is been underlined even further for him. Yeah, so I suppose that his goal has affected all of us in the way we are behaving as a crew. I think.
Just trying to get an idea of the forecasts for the next couple of days. So it looks like 15 knots from the northeast on Saturday. So obviously, as we get closer to the time, we'll get a better indication of forecasts. But at the moment, it looks all good for a nice downwind start. This is where roughly we are at the moment, just in Wicklow. We'll come down here, we'll have the breeze with us from the northeast. We get down to Tusco Rock. We sort of come across to the right. The breeze will still be behind us. We'll get around to the fastnet, and then the breeze, we should be coming into the breeze. The breeze will be into the breeze the whole way up to the west coast until we come around to the top. Turn right again, come across to Rathlin Island, and hopefully the breeze will stay from the north, and we should get it behind us then the whole way down.
Ready for a big pull on the bag? On the bag? Not you clearing the other side.
Everyone is as busy as a bee this morning. We're clearing off all the unnecessary weight off the boat. That includes additional crew gear, dive gear, galley equipment, pots and pans. We'll only need a kettle when we're going around. That sort of thing. Extra sails that we don't plan on using, they're all coming off. It's even a certain amount of media equipment that's not needed is coming off. The idea is to make the boat as light as possible further around Ireland. So that means that crew will be really paring back, and we're doubling up on space and storage.
Hey, my name is Dan. I'm a scuba diver, and I'm here to clean the hull of Monster Project.
You can see all the mold and like slimy stuff on the runners.
To wipe any of the build-up of slime and weed off the bottom of the boat, to reduce drag in the water and essentially make the boat go faster. Any reduction in drag at all is going to like seriously accelerate the boat, you know.
David wants me just to say to you all, we've arrived, we've got here, we're ready to roll, we've done what we can do with regard to our preparation. We have a fantastic team, there's a brilliant morale here, there's a huge amount of expertise, and the professional crew have given us massive backup and as much training as we could possibly have had under the light air circumstances. We're here, we're ready to go, and we're just going to go and enjoy this and make sure we pull out every last straw, don't leave anything behind, and we're going to get over that line for line honours. Not only that, we're also going to do our best to win the damn race.
Excellent.
All right. But he's pulled out all the stops, and I think it's a reflection of David's integrity and what the effort that David has put into it, the drive he's had for it over the last few months. We just want to just be the icing on the cake now.
Here, here.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, big day is finally here, so final preparations going on deck and lots of nervous energy around. It's fueling us, I think, at the moment to get the final bits done, so keen to just push off now shortly and get to the start line.
I'm feeling excited. I'm sorry for repeating myself, but that seems to be the only word that covers it. Yeah, no, it's the biggest one. Yeah, I might never do this again.
That's a big challenge. I've never navigated on a boat this size before, or this quick. So yeah, it's a big challenge, and it's going to be a big learning experience for myself personally.
A bit of a mixed emotional bag at the minute. Happy to be here. I know my mum was with me, and you know, it'll give me an extra impetus to get this job done right.
When we see David arriving this morning, it just uplifted everybody's spirits. It's a morale boost for the whole team. It's given us that extra lift that we need. We've done the preparation, but bringing him back in is the icing on the cake. It's fantastic. I know he's apprehensive about whether he'll be able to step up to the mark. But what we've done is we've shuffled things around a little bit, so he's going to be under a little bit of extra care and guidance for the next few days.
A nice bit of wind now, and just have to let go of the lines, I suppose, and we're off.
It's going to be 15 knots basically just off port quarter, and we're maybe doing like maybe 14, 15 knots across the start line. We're going to put a head out into sort of the southern Irish Sea, and then we'll turn and head towards the fastness.
A year's work and a lot of dreams for a lot of people, a lot of sacrifices made, but we're off to do our best. That's all we can do. We can do nothing more at this stage.
This is the class flag. So we have to display a class flag. So all the boats in our class will display this flag as well.
On, Bobby Kerr! This is a critical time in a race. All the boats are at close quarters and collisions can happen. People not following the rules. It's a very, very tense time. You may have to avoid somebody who doesn't follow the rules, collisions, retirees. And the other thing is if you're over the line, you'll be called back and have to restart, which can be quite difficult. I have to go now, sorry, I had to grind.
It's all about. Oh, good shot of adrenaline there for the start. Plus the rest of the field. We left everybody completely in our wake there.
This is Tank 2, there's a Volvo Open 60. Chartered by the unthinkable entrepreneurs, they say, Enjo Cunny. And they have a Volvo Ocean Race navigator on board. What a spectator.
Race is on.
Zigzagging.
The race is absolutely on here. This is like the boys sailing dinghies. Most people would be absolutely terrified to take the wheel at this stage, but this is where the real sharp helms have to be on it. There's so much happening now. There's so many voices, so much power. It's just incredible. You can hear the winches in the background grinding, and the guys easing sheets and constantly trying to balance the boat to get the best out of it. The noise and the buzz is just absolutely electric at the moment. And we're just trying to make the pass here on Tank 2 and Kilcullen. So we reckon these guys are going to shadow us pretty much all the way around. We're not going to get too far ahead of them at any stage.
This will definitely slow us down. We made a tactical decision based on looking at the forecast. If the weather in here, the wind conditions inside here are going to get quite light over the next 3 to 4 hours, and that's not where we want to be. The optimum route that we have is this red line here, so that's our optimum route. The reason why we didn't go out to the optimum route from the start is that we wanted to pick up the Tank Tools Kilcullen, which is the Open 60, which is our biggest rival for line honours. So we wanted to come collect those, then once we have those, we're going to try take them out with us to the optimum route. if we didn't collect them, or if we didn't go in to meet them, they could have came inside here, weather conditions might have changed, and they could have got ahead of us over a period of time.
I'm really sad at the moment because we're caught in light winds. This boat needs really big winds so she can scream around the Irish coast, and at the moment there's only one boat ahead of us, but in the last an hour ago they were about 1.5 miles between the two boats, and now they're 3 miles ahead of us. So it's not looking good at the moment, and unless we get some really big winds, it looks like the distance between the two boats will get bigger.
We're doing about 10 knots average. There's a real race on between ourselves and 10 tools boats. A bit frustrating. We can't make the wind blow any harder for ourselves. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be a tactical race. Decisions made now could be do or die at the end.
Looks like they have a slight nose ahead of us at the moment, but we reckon we have the better line and we're going to pick up the better breeze later on. So that's going to be the big shift. Once we hit the Fastnet, we expected to see them again, and it's who makes the move up the west coast then first. Andy, what are you doing?
Okay. Basically, we lost the hazard, the line that pulls the sail up, that split at the top of the mast and caused the sail to fall into the water. And we had to send the bowman Tom had to go up to the top of the rig to try to retrieve the hazard and bring it back down to the deck. And the rest of the crew members was getting the sail up the side.
Yeah, going up the mast can be quite dangerous. Head injuries, rope breaks, he falls on that height, he's a casualty, he's dead.
Everyone stop talking, please. Tom, I've tripped the lock, is it not running?
The whole incident probably lasted 10-15 minutes, and now we're on the way again, all sailing.
We had a few things we had to recover from as quickly as we could. Didn't have the best first day really of the race. I suppose we made a couple of mistakes basically. But yeah, hopefully we can just, I suppose, keep our focus up and try and maintain our position, I guess.
I'm trimming the spinnaker at the moment, so trying to make sure it stays full and gives us best boat speed that we can. But the wind's gone very light, so it's kind of tricky now. You got to pay attention. I'm watching the leading edge of the sail to see how much it collapses, and when it gets to a certain point I get the guys to take in, and if it goes too flat for too long we leave a little bit out.
I wouldn't be surprised if the rest of the fleet came smashing into the back of us now at this stage, and if everyone had a restart right here. Wouldn't be surprised one bit. Makes sense.
We're going to make a sail change again. It's a guess. This is normally be the right sail, but we're not getting enough movement with it. This boat has made a mile on us in about the last hour. So we have to try and do something to improve our position or get us moving. It is a lighter boat and it's easier for it to sail in lighter winds. But
oh, come on!
Come on to what?
We left them for dead before I got off the wheel.
Yeah, then the wheel died. No, you hadn't.
Yes, we had.
No, then we popped the kite, we tore ahead of the kite, and then we had to drop the kite, and now they're coming up. You realise they're like a ton lighter than us in body.
No, I don't want to hear excuses. I'm a results woman.
What?
That's
they
bad.
They get to stop the wet speed.
Okay, stand by the dive. The boat now. Smoke it. So we need to pop the top down.
Great morale boost around the Fastnet Rock, leading the Round Ireland Yacht Race. Line honours is still our target, and we're on course to do that. 2 boats in the background there coming up on the mark, but we're on the right side of the mark first.
Oh boy, that was really tight at the Fastnet there. They were just charging up behind us. We've been playing with wind angles all night and our sail selection, and we just about managed to hang on to the wind to keep our biggest and our best sail up. Now we've got Jolika, the French boat, and we've got Teng Tools jockeying for position there at the moment. And I think the French boat, the wind is swung around and they're going to have to either change direction of the boat or they're going to have to change sails. All that's time consuming, the loose speed, the loose ground, which means we make ground on them.
So we're off the coast of Kerry, and our wind dropped again on the inside, and we have a problem with our main sheet in that the baton at the top doesn't pop whenever we tack. So what we've had to do is every time we tack, which has been about 5 times now in the last hour and a half, is every tack involves another effort of getting one of our bowmen up the mast so we can kick the batten at the top of the mast so we can catch that last bit of wind. So what we've decided now is because we're going to tack again in about another 40 minutes, we just leave him up there. He did ask for a pudding and maybe a fleecy jacket, but if we leave him up there for another 45 minutes, if it gets cold, he'll tell us that he wants to come down.
So we've had him up and down the mast maybe 10 times in the last 6 hours, so I have to say our arms are pretty wrecked at this stage. But you know what? You just got to do it, and even when you think there's nothing left, you just have to grind on and go for it.
Tom, we're going to drop you. We're going to bring you down. Okay, ready?
What's up?
Ready? Clutch is off.
We're starting into the night watch now from 6 to 10, then I'm off from 10 to 2, and back on from 2 to 6. Feeling my arms are very sore. We're doing a lot of tacking and jibing and Tom up the mast. It's heavy on everybody.
When we first started in the boat, we were all looking for the instruction from the professional crew, but at this stage we've got to know the other people on our watch, which is our team. We've got to know each other a little bit better, and we're starting to understand when somebody does something intuitively, we'll fill into their spot, and we're starting to move a little bit more without having to talk to each other. And that's you're on a roll when you're starting to work as a team without talking. Mind you, at the end of a watch, we're pretty tired, and we rely a lot on one person covering another person's back. And you know you're on a great watch when everybody's looking out for each other.
The boat was all leaning to the left, in other words the right was up in the air. We've now tacked, and the starboard side, or the right hand side of the boat is now leaning down, and the left hand, the port hand side is now up. And we've swung the keel to reduce that as much as possible, and also that's the idea, the beauty of the swinging keel. It keeps the angle of tilt when you're beating, especially, down to a minimum.
The canting keel is 20 degrees on the wrong side of the boat, which means that you're 4.5 tons quite as a disadvantage to us at the moment, because it's on the wrong side with the wind, which is causing us trouble. If the wind picks up, in these areas it's not too bad. The more wind we have, the bigger the problem that will become. It'll just mean that we can't sail to the ability of the boat. We just have to slow down and work within our limitations with the way it is. There's 2 or 3 guys below trying to fix this. Ideally, if the weather got up, you'd have to put everybody on the rail trying to counteract the keel. But in reality, a 4.5 ton keel versus 10 people doesn't stack up.
Hey Adam, give me a big shout when you want to stop, yeah?
Don't try this at home, kids.
We had a bit of a problem with our keel electrics overnight, so we're having to do it the old-fashioned way and do it sort of without using the computerised system to control it.
Hey.
Yeah, we're being shadowed by this other boat behind us here. It's the tactics haven't worked. The wind is not sufficient enough for us to move quick enough. Hold the racing line and hold them off and hope we get a wind lift. If we get a wind lift, we're away then.
Basically looking for darker patches in the water, and while the water looks a bit more disturbed, it's a good indication of where pressure, i.e. more wind is. So if I can stay here, stay as far forward as I can, keep an eye out and relay it down back. Hopefully it'll help us pick up a bit more speed, which is really vital to a race.
The coolest thing about dolphins when you're at sea is you can see them looking up at you sometimes. You sit on the bow strip there and they'll swim underneath and see them turning up to the top of you. I was trying to talk to the whales.
I have to wake up the other watch. They're on now. Whoop whoop, sleep for us, but haha, no sleep for them. In fact, some of them are already up, but looks things. Be careful not to wake people who are off watch as well.
When you're on the bow, you feel like this is great, this is the sea, this is nature. But you also feel, my word, you better get the stuff right back there so I don't get submerged or whatever.
It started to push kind of 18, 19 knots and hit 20 knots for a while. There was something kind of really cool happened. I'm not quite sure what it was. It was one of those kind of little outer body experiences. And I was sitting on a Volvo 70 going downwind right on the limit of the sails that we had up, fully powered up, looking down at Cara and Joan trimming the sails with me. And really just, it was what we were here for, you know. It was proper Volvo ocean racing. We were full on, water over the deck, water coming over our heads. And what was really, really cool about it, we were totally buttoned up and zipped up and velcroed over inside in our jackets. But you could see every time I'd catch the eyes of the girls, you could tell by our eyes that we were all just had this grin on our face, this massive grin. And it was just so cool. It really is what we came out here to do.
When the pressure comes off the winch, it's just, I'm sitting just under one of the main winches and the whole thing just vibrates, you know, and there's another bang. That's actually a rope releasing for tightening. It's taking up the tension. It's not someone banging their head off the deck, which some people say we probably should be when we're doing madness like this, you know. Well, I suppose that's what it's called a monster for. Yeah, it chews you up and spits you out every time you come out and watch, you know, and turns you around a bit, you know.
Looks more like links. Looks more like links. We label.
Joys of the job, huh? Total commitment. Bit of a fall. Very sore.
Did that. Climbing into my bunk. Really sore.
They're the worst ones, aren't they?
They're the worst ones. They're the ones which really hurt.
Have you hit yourself as well?
Yeah, climbing into my bunk, I grazed my arm.
Back injury, man. Terrible. Falling out's worse.
Yeah, no, I'm glad I got a soft landing though. You're right.
Okay, now the bandage on
Just checking the tracker on my phone here. We just got a bit of coverage as we came near the coast of Donegal, see where our opposition is. So we haven't seen them in about 6 or 7 hours, but it looks like we've got about 20 miles on them now in terms of distance to finish, and the race tracker's saying we've got 271 miles to run. So we're about 2/3 of the way around the course now, maybe a little bit more. So we're looking pretty good. But if the wind dies overnight, that gap could close very fast. So we're still staying on it here. Guys are on the rail, getting the best out of the boat, and hopefully we can hold that gap as we head around the north coast.
Mike, wasn't it?
Too quiet, isn't it? It didn't, yeah. Not a lot I can do.
those closest with us would be hit with the exact same weather, yeah. Which means that hopefully the gap won't close. It shouldn't close because it'll be very hard for them to beat up through this.
Update. David and his crew aboard Monster Project are still in the lead. 19 miles ahead of Ting Tools Kilcullen in this epic chase for line honours. Off North Coast this morning. At 3:30 p.m. today the tide at Rathlin will change. And David and his crew have to get there before it changes. Boats who miss this tide may find themselves anchoring in position. Get behind the lads, donate to the charity, they can make it happen. He has what they call a semi-coma. Sometimes he's alert and responsive, and other times he is passed out. We're doing a lot of cognitive therapy with him, trying to build up when he's good, try and work with him and video it all and then analyse his reactions and then build a programme of bringing him back in that sort of state. The Care for Shane Charitable Trust is set up for a nephew of mine, Shane Grogan from Galway, who got an acquired brain injury as a result of a serious assault. The charitable trust was set up to try and help Shane in his recovery, treatment and facilities that he requires. Teresa, my wife, goes down to Galway every 3 to 4 weeks and helps the family out with cognitive therapy with Shane. This is to try and improve his cognitive function through working with Shane when he's able. A lovely young man. He's a lovely young man. He just needs to be encouraged to come back. Just be better. Sorry. This letter was given to me by Shane's family prior to the race. Because of my fragile state earlier in the week, I didn't feel up to reading it, but now I'm going to read it to you all. The day has finally come, the race is on. This is a message to you all from Shane's family. Shane loved the challenge and has taken on many triathlons, charity cycles and more. He now faces his greatest challenge from his hospital bed. All we want for Shane is for him to come back to us. So I'd ask you sometime, as you hoist the sail or feel a rush of wind coming up from the west, think of him and somewhere out there where his wonderful spirit, to call him back to us. We miss his wit and his sense of fun and all those parts of him that made him who he is. To all on the team, enjoy every minute of your wonderful, exciting journey. Never take what you have for granted, and most of all, return safe to those who you love. And of course, win line honours with all the love, and thank you, the Grogan family.
And we're roughly about 15 miles to the west of Innistrohull, which is the most northerly island of Ireland. The 10 Tools Kilcullen is probably around 30 miles astern of us at the moment, so we made good mileage yesterday.
Probably the key point in the race is where the race will be won and lost. You can have 7 knots of tide running by Rathlin. It's actually quite dangerous. If you get yourself in the wrong position, you could end up on the rocks. Tactically, we have to make the right choice here. If we get stuck in a hole or get stuck on tide, it gives everybody the opportunity for 6 hours to catch up on us. So there's a lot of discussion going on the boat currently as to where we should be, when we should go out or come in.
Do we do a gravity jump on the
so it's roughly 20 miles to Rathlin Island. The gate is, the tidal gate is at 2100, so it's roughly in just under 3 hours time. And on this current speed we should get there around 8:30, which is 30 minutes before the tidal gate, but it will give us the full flow of tide, 6 hours of tide with us.
Will they run into that hole that we were in?
That's filled in, I'd say now. This breeze will have filled into that hole, so they'll reach across behind us.
Where's the
they're unlikely to make the tide or catch the very back at the end of this tide now, so they're far enough behind.
Once we get there, and that's it, we're on the way home.
it's always hard to play the tide gates, and Rathlin is one of the biggest tidal gates on the course, and it's renowned for being unforgiving. And we put ourselves in a position where we managed to get there just in time. The guys did a great job in just getting the boat around just as we came on watch last night. And once we rounded that, the tide just started to lift us and drag us down into the Irish Sea. We're currently about 10 miles north of North Wales, on the far side of the Irish Sea from Ireland. The wind is forcing us to zigzag down the Irish Sea at the moment, but we have the tide with us, so we're making good progress.
It means a lot then that when David picked us to be part of a team, that now we're going to achieve what he wanted, that we are going to bring him over the line first. I can't wait to see his face when he's driving the boat over the line, waving at everybody on the pier. This has been amazing. I just feel on top of the world.
I feel elated. I can't believe the amount of people that turned out here. It's just incredible. I'm moved by it. The music and everything. The party is only beginning, I think. No, we've achieved our dream. I've only won a part of a team. I couldn't have done this on my own. No one person deserves any credit for this. It's a team effort. And everybody played their part in the last couple of days, and even before that, the last couple of weeks.